The shoot-'em-up genre has been around for a long time. Since Space War was introduced in the early 60s, we have been able to play thousands of different shooters, and today, 60 years later, there is a plethora of modern shmup games to choose from, with mixed quality. But sometimes games are found that stand out and deliver. The question is, what does Yurukill, the Damnation Games, have to offer? Have the developers created something unique? And what is this game really about? Yurukill is created by the Japanese developers IzanagiGames. They are behind titles like Death Come True and World's End Club, but have now made a game that is totally different. A game that combines a story-driven drama, point-and-click elements and fast-paced shoot-'em-up. Does that sound confusing? Perhaps. Creating a game that contains so many different game styles can make one wonder how everything works together. I mean, variety is good, but it can be risky that the game is spreading in all directions and trying to cover as much as possible without really achieving anything. So how did the developers actually solve it? Well, it's all about timing. First of all, this is a long and extensive game, about 20 to 25 hours from start to finish. You shouldn't expect a shooting stage followed by a short cutscene that is repeated until the game is over. It's a different approach, something I didn't expect. First, you get to experience 1 to 2 hours of dialogue, which also includes various elements of puzzle solving. Then you get the opportunity to play 45 minutes of shoot 'em up, which also contains different challenges, or rather, to answer different questions. Then everything is repeated, but in a different way. New characters are introduced, new riddles and puzzles and new shooting stages. Now, this is a time estimate, but during my playthrough it took about this long, 25 hours. It's reasonable to consider that the game is a bit well drawn out, but I don't agree. Lots of things happen in this game. The narrative is dramatic, the puzzles are somewhat challenging, albeit a bit cryptic at times, and the shoot 'em up offers a certain variety. This is an intense and dark story about murder, about proving your innocence and finding the real culprit. The game's protagonist is called Sengoku Shinjuku, a man who got into trouble. After being convicted of murder, he is serving a life sentence in prison, but there is a catch. He claims to be innocent and that somebody framed him. But who? One day he gets the opportunity to participate in a competition where the prize is freedom. Sengoku chooses to participate, but in parallel with the competition he does his own investigation, an attempt to find the real culprit. But this raises some questions. Is Sengoku really innocent? If so, who is the real killer? And who starts a competition for prisoners where the prize is freedom? It's completely crazy. There are many question marks in this game, but that is also the game's strength. There is an investigative aspect, talking to different individuals, finding clues and trying to understand how everything is connected. The competition takes place in Yurukill land. This is a theme park where 5 selected prisoners team up with a partner in order to solve various challenges. Unlike the prisoners, the partner is innocent but always have a connection to the convict. The story is sometimes dramatic. The innocent partner interrogates the prisoner from time to time, which can have unforeseen consequences. But it's all about your choices. Your decisions determine the fate of each prisoner. There is an interesting future in this game, something called IzanagiGames time, an interrogation. It's basically about answering a bunch of questions, but it's presented in such a nice way. First of all, you try to investigate a dilemma and solve different puzzles together with a partner. In this case, the partner's name is Rina. She has the power to kill you. She is not a prisoner, but an executioner. The collar worn on the prisoner is equipped with a poison arrow. The poison arrow can be triggered by Rina activating a kill button. Then you have to undergo a cross-examination where the partner asks tough questions. If you answer correctly, you survive. If you answer incorrectly, well, then she presses the kill button and you die immediately. This is a really exciting part of the game. One must remember past events and what has been said before. And of course, you have to choose the right answer. This is IzanagiGames time, and I like it. It's fun. What I appreciate about the story is the relationships. The game is divided into different scenarios where each prisoner tries to prove that they are innocent of crime. There is often a tension between the partner and the prisoner. For example, between Hanaka, a pop star, and Kiichi, her fan. Kiichi does anything for Hanaka, until he discovers that Hinaka was the one who stabbed him at one point. He almost died. The story takes a new turn and the question is, what will happen next? Will he forgive her? or will he take revenge? Sometimes the dialogues can feel long and drawn out, but at the same time they give an in-depth picture between the different characters. This is far from happy stories. The crimes are brutal. Murder due to stabbing, burning, robbery and drowning. But to be honest, I don't mind the heavy topics. It's dark but interesting because of the chemistry between the people. The relationships are dynamic and unpredictable. I usually wanted to know what would happen next. Maybe you are a person who doesn't care about puzzles or games with lot of dialogue. Maybe you just want to fly a spaceship, smash and destroy everything in your path. Then there is the option to select Score Attack mode. But not everything is as you might think. The levels must be unlocked. And that is done by playing through the whole game, that is, the main story. You have to solve all puzzles, get through all the dialogues and of course complete all the shooting stages. Gradually you get access to more courses. In Score Attack mode there are a couple of different options: practice, stage score attack or play all stages. Then select the character you want to play. As far as I know there are only 4 profiles to choose from, all taken from the main story. Each character has different spaceships with different strengths and weaknesses. As you can see in these pictures, you can see how they behave differently. Above all, it's noticeable in which direction the projectiles are fired. The difficulty level can also be set: easy, medium or hell. Yeah, why should you even be able to choose hard when you can go straight to hell? Finally, you decide how many lives you want to start with. If you want a real challenge, choose hell and start with 1 life. I wish you good luck. I appreciate that there are many choices. This allows you to specify the type of challenge you're looking for. Should you have many lives and play on easy mode, or few lives and choose hell mode? It's your choice and I think it's good. The stages are quite simply designed and usually contain few obstacles. You confront enemies in different formations, some have a lot of health, but in general it's about you and your skills to be able to eliminate as many enemies as possible and survive. However, one should not expect the courses to change angles. Everything is seen from a top-down perspective, but the graphics are especially nice when the game becomes a shoot 'em up. The environments are varied, sometimes taking place on a planet, sometimes in space. It's a game that contains lots of effects, such as all projectiles and explosions. All in all, the environments are lively, something is constantly in motion. But the puzzles and dialogues usually take place in static environments, usually a quiet room without animations, except for a few fires that are seen from time to time. But in general, it's when the game becomes a shoot 'em up that it becomes really nice to watch. The game also includes some bosses, and I have to say, I think this is one of the best aspects of this game. Each boss is completely unique, has its own attacks and movement patterns. In addition, the battles are divided into several phases. In each phase, the boss has a new mechanic or something that makes everything a little trickier. It's like a trial and error kind of game. Since you are not always prepared for what is to come, you may need to spend a couple of lives before you succeed in eliminating the boss. It can definitely be challenging, especially depending on the level of difficulty. In addition, there is one thing that makes everything much more complicated: that there is so much going on at the same time. Check out what is going on here. The boss has 6 mobs shooting green lasers. At the same time you have to move, otherwise you explode by a lock-on target attack. But you also have to avoid all the pink balls. And believe me, there are lots of them. Yeah, a lot can happen at the same time, and it may be necessary to keep your concentration up. The bosses are, in my opinion, entertaining, varied, challenging, and above all, the peak of every story. Yurukill, the Calumnation games, is a game that works well on the Nintendo Switch. I have played both handheld and docked. I must say that both ways are to your satisfaction. I didn't experience any major problems with slowdowns, even though some sequences are bursting with moving objects and explosions. The game crashed only once, but considering that this is a long game, this is overall a very solid experience. It's of course possible to save manually, but there is also an autosave function. At certain times, however, you cannot save. I guess it's because you shouldn't be able to cheat, although it's not fun if the game crashes and you're forced to replay certain parts just because you could not save. Yurukill is a fun game. Sure, you have to be prepared that it contains long dialogues, but it's usually interesting and dramatic. In addition, the puzzles are sometimes really tricky and you have to make an effort to come up with a solution. And of course, that everything is mixed up with well-designed shoot 'em up. I can recommend this game. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. I review new games every week. Have a good day. See ya!